Hello there, and welcome back to Marks Plays Age of Conan, the strategy board game. We are just about to start a new age of Conan here. The last one was complete, and we ran through overview at the end of the last episode. But now we're going to quickly go through and finish up the age change phase and get back to playing. So first thing is we resolve raids, and what we've got is a raid in Ophir that cannot be answered for by the Aquilonians, and we have another one in Aquilonian home province, but they can avoid losing a victory point there. And then up here in the border kingdoms, also Conan was wrecking shit, so looks like Hyperboreans will also lose a point. So that puts Aquilonia at 2 points, Hyperborea at 5 points, Stygia at 6, and Turan at 7. Okay, now each of the kingdoms collects gold and objective points. So with all their towers in place, Aquilonia gets the most money with 11 gold. Stygia gets the least with 5. Hyperborea gets a respectable 7 gold, and Turan gets a above average 9 gold. Now to go through each of the objective cards, first is the Power Behind the Thrones. You accomplish this objective if you have more emissaries in play outside of your kingdom than any other player. Well, it looks like Aquilonia has 2, Turan has 2, and Stygia has 2 outside of their home territory, so nobody claims this one at this point. Now is the Diplomatic Power card. You accomplish this objective if you have a greater total of towers plus cities than any other player. Well, it looks like Aquilonia has that one. They have towers in Zingara, Ophir, and Argos. So they get a point for that. Next comes the Sea Power card. You accomplish this objective if you control at least 2 non-adjacent coastal provinces, excluding your home kingdom. And it looks like only 2 kingdoms that have succeeded at this is Turan and Aquilonia. So each of them receive 2 points also. And the Sea Power card is completed. And finally, the War Against the Pirates card. You accomplish this objective if you have at least 2 forts and or cities in coastal provinces. And it looks like the only kingdom to accomplish this goal is the Turanians down in Gulistan and Iranistan. So they get another point. So at this point, the Turanians are in a commanding lead with 10, Stygia at 6, and Aquilonia and Hyperborea at 5 points each. Now we'll go through and place the cards for the objectives for the next age of Conan here. So first is the Sorceress Nation. You accomplish this objective if you possess more sorcery tokens than any other player. I'm looking at Hyperborea for that one. Border Wars. You accomplish this objective if you have at least 2 forts and or cities in provinces adjacent to a savage province. Right now, I don't see anyone except for Turan that could possibly have that currently, but there's still a long way to go in this age. And finally, the Road of Kings. You accomplish this objective if you control Koth and either Ophir or Zamora. So if you're able to build a road good halfway across the land, then you will receive that objective. Now we start to raise troops and build cities. So in Aquilonia, they raise a legion, and rather than build a city in the Pictus Wilderness, kind of a backwards part of the world, they just choose to recruit another legion of troops there. Now the Hyperborean Empire, they decide to build a city in the land of Brithunia here, and they raise troops in the border kingdoms and in their home kingdom. Stand up, fool! Now in Turan, they're far removed off to the east, so they decide to build 2 cities, one in Iranistan and one in Gulistan. They've got a commanding point lead, and they can afford to not raise the troops this time. But they do get to raise a troop in their home province of Tehran. And finally in Stygia, they decide that they need to recuperate some of their losses after the conquest of Shem and recruit all the way across from east to west. So now it's time to spend some gold. So over in Aquilonia first, the Cobra King decides to empty his entire coffers and buys a whole bunch of stuff. So first he buys a kingdom card and a strategy card, and they get the incredibly cool Spies of Tarantia card, which we'll get into later if they use it. Then they're going to spend a bunch of cash on emissaries. They spent $8 on emissaries. I think we're going to put one here, one here. I think the rest will go in Aquilonia. With the special movement rules for... Oops, wow, everyone dies. With the special movement rules for emissaries, they can all be in a central location and they can kind of chain move over. And they're also going to build 2 extra troops here, and I think we'll make a garrison over in Argos. That's a pretty large garrison. But yeah, just to build up their military slightly. But the Aquilonians are pursuing a peaceful expansion in this game. And I've been role-playing them as a little bit... not a little bit, a lot less military and a lot more diplomacy. So I'd like to continue that with the Aquilonians. Now, over in Hyperborea, they decide to spend most of their cash on a new army of savage warriors, starting in the border kingdoms. Things just got tense there. And now, east to Tehran. Now, they've got a good chunk of change to spend as well, so they are short on Empire cards, so they're going to draw 2 this time. So their first one is the Hyrcanian mercenaries. I believe they already had that one, but now they've got another set of mercenaries come out of the desert wilds. And a character, Artaban, who is somewhat of a military leader. Maybe he's a nomadic warrior of some kind. Next, they're going to spend a couple bucks on a couple mercenaries, and they're going to spread out into the eastern deserts and in Iranistan. And they are going to buy 3 troops as well. And I think they're starting to be somewhat concerned about the hordes that are appearing in the north. So I think just for now they're going to put it in their home province to be moved at a later date, perhaps. Strategic reserves, we'll call them. And now the south, Stygia. They don't have a lot of money to spend, so all they're going to do is get 3 new legions. And I think either we spread them out or we focus them. I think we'll do a bit of both. We'll build a bit of a garrison in Western Shem there, and we're going to add a couple to the main province in Stygia. I have a feeling they're going to be reinforcing the armies assaulting southern Shem. Now it is time for the players to decide who controls the artifacts. So, first of all, Aquilonia puts 4 of their treasure tokens towards the Cobra Crown control, but it appears Tehran has a lot more token value, so they claim control of the Cobra Crown at this point, perhaps through some kind of blood allegiance of some kind, who knows. And now the Sword of Atlantis. It was in possession, the Hyperborean players' possession, and they bid to continue possessing it, but It looks like Stygia has quite a collection of monster tokens, and so they have claimed the Sword of Atlantis to be used to their advantage. So that means the Heart of Tammuz is unclaimed at this point, and so nobody gets the benefit of its effect. So we've had a bit of a shake-up with the control of the artifacts this age change. And so the Hyperboreans are kind of upset that they lost their precious Sword of Atlantis, so I believe they're going to try and have some revenge against the Stygians. And also, the Aquilonians lost their Cobra Crown, which they were using a lot. But I did decide to roleplay that the Aquilonians would show some form of allegiance to whoever was in possession of it. So they respect the crown and they respect its authority. And if it's in the possession of the Turanians, well, then they must respect the Turanian will. Alright, now we generated a new adventure deck for Conan. 2, 3, and if you remember, I've added an extra card just to add some length to the game. So his first adventure of the Second Age will be the Shadows in Zambula, over in the steppes, way to the east. Conan faces a cannibal cult and helps a dancer restore her lover to sanity while recovering a magic ring. I wonder what they mean by dancer in quotations. That's weird. Anyway, there's 4 tokens for that card. Alright, so finally, for the last part of the age change phase, we do another bid for Conan. So over in Aquilonia, they've got 11 points here. And with Conan being so close over here in Koth, it's not so much that they want to use him at this point. They want to use him to get the Cobra Crown back. Although they hold allegiance to it, they really think that they should be in possession of it. So they're going to use Conan and some of the crown actions to try and claim as many of the adventure tokens as they can. Hopefully. We'll see what the other kingdoms have to say about it. Hyperborea spends 9. They use their reusable token, but because they've spent all of their big ones at this point. They saw the advantage of possibly having Conan join them because he is going to wander east and north, sort of where they have their eyes on doing some invasions, but it won't be happening this time. Now in Tehran, they've also spent a large token of theirs. But it won't be enough in this case. Again, they saw the advantage of having him come towards where they're going to be doing some diplomacy and possibly some military work. But it won't happen this time. And it looks like Stygia also spending a big portion, but just falling short of stealing control of Conan for another turn. They've got the lowest amount of tokens, so they really want to get their hands on some to get some advantages, especially in the later, at the end of the Third Age, where those tokens really begin to mean a lot if you want to crown Conan as your king. But it looks like Aquilonia once again has swayed Conan to join their side. Alright, finally we can proceed with the first turn of the Second Age, and it's falling on the Aquilonian player who has control of Conan, so they're going to move him over to Zamora, a step closer to his goal in the steppes, and they draw a monster token, which is not what they want. And also they're going to use a court action to move Conan once again, I think, back into Carinthia, and also throw a raid down, I'm thinking, where the threat is highest in the border kingdoms. Or sorry, that's too far away. Brithunia is next door, so he can do it there. So now, with their court action, the Aquilonian player decides to draw a kingdom card and a strategy card, and they draw the Gunderland Pikemen military unit. So that's it for the Aquilonian player. And now to Hyperborea, where they are going to go ahead and take a military action and march their legions north from Brithunia and into the frozen wastes of the tundra to subjugate the tribes there. Alright, well, the first wave of the Hyperborean assault begins. And they score 2 hits there. And now the defenders score only 1 hit, so they do not manage to stave off the first wave. Now, I believe they're going to force march and try second wave, fighting their way through the plains. Here they only get 1 success. I think we're going to use a sorcery to reroll 1, just to boost our chances here. Yes, a second hit. And now the defenders, no hits. So good. They advance again. Now I'm going to do a force march once again, but we're going to bring in the legions of the dead here. So they are actually helping us in the fact that they do not require us to remove a legion when we do a force march. And if we spend a sorcery token, we can add another legion to the army. So we are right back to full complement of troops here in this assault, and hopefully we can finish off the last of the tribes up here. 2 hits here, and the defenders only 1 hit, so they have failed to stave off the assault. And Hyperborea has expanded their empire into the tundra of the north. Okay, over in Turan, they would like to convince the Kauran province to join their side, so they're going to use a intrigue action. Now, the Turanians have a lot of surrounding influence. 1, 2, 3, 4 provinces with emissaries or control. But they are also in possession of the Cobra Crown now, so they get an additional dice to try and sway the Coranians. And with that, they have gotten 2 successes, and the defenders, local lords, also fire back with 2 hits, so that is a failure. So now over to Stygia. Now, they've got a tough call here. There's only 3 fate dice left, and 2 are wild, and there's a Crown and Conan action. Now, they're sitting with the lowest amount of Conan tokens, so they're wondering if they should even bother trying to sway Conan anymore and just worry about their aggressive expansions. I mean, they could really use his talents. So I think, I don't know, I think they're just going to go ahead and use a wild die for a military action and advance some troops into southern Shem to continue the campaign there. Alright, here we go with the first wave of the Stygian assault in southern Shem. The continued campaign. 1, 2, 3 hits there. And southern Shem tribes fight back weakly and suffer the loss of their home. So, finally, after quite a few game turns, southern Shem falls to the Stygian army. Okie dokie. Over in Aquilonia, they are going to be moving Conan east once again into Zamora and claim themselves a 3 treasure token. That's going to help them get that Cobra Crown back. And they are going to further steal away the crown action from anyone else trying to snag a Conan token. But he's going to move to the end of the line here. That'll ensure that the Aquilonians get a bonus token. And while he's there, he's going to throw some raids at the Hyperborean up in the tundra. That's a few times they've done that to the Hyperboreans, so don't want to be poking the bear, so to speak. But too late now. Okay, I think we're about at time for this video. I just want to leave you a shot of the overview of what's going on. This is the beginning of the Second Age, and things have gotten a lot more claustrophobic on the board for sure, with everybody starting to encroach on one another. This game definitely gets a lot more interesting in the Second and Third Ages after the initial expansion. But anyway, we'll see in the next video how things are going to progress and who's going to do what and how things are going to happen. So thank you again for watching. This has been Marx's Let's Play of Age of Conan strategy board game. See you next time.